What's up? What's good? The Wolf is here, and in this video, I just wanted to do a little bit of a let's talk, something kind of shortish. In this one, just going over the whole thing of like remasters, enhanced versions of games, remakes, reboots. All these terms are basically just marketing terms, just to get you to buy new products or remade versions of products that have higher resolution, stuff thrown in there and everything. Kind of confusing for just the normal average consumer. So I just wanted to make this video just to kind of like tell you what the terms are of like what they're meaning and what to expect from these titles. So let's start off with remasters and enhanced version of games. So enhanced has been a brand new term that we just barely started hearing. The first one that I really have heard of is the brand new Spider-Man Miles Morales trailer. So a Sony rep was saying that it's a standalone game for the PS5, and it's also basically like a giant DLC package deal for the Spider-Man game that came out on the PS4 recently, Marvel's Spider-Man, where you are playing as Miles Morales, the one that is basically being trained by Peter Parker. While Peter's on assignments, Morales is out there fighting crime, doing the Spider-Man thing, with all the same abilities or very similar abilities anyways. So enhanced in this sense would mean the whole thing of, okay, so it's an expansion pack, but it's also enhanced for new hardware. So it's enhanced in the fact that no load times, where the PS4 Spider-Man had some load times. There were some long load times, but for the most part, it was just like a lot of load times in there. You go to fast travel and it's that subway scene and everything. And then on top of that, I guess it's going to be like a snowy New York. Insomniac just showed that off, so that's going to be really cool. Enhanced, it's good. I just hope that if it's an enhanced version of it for, like marketing term of enhanced, that we get some, if you bought the PS4 version of Spider-Man, we get a little bit of cash off from, this expansion pack. Make it $30, just like the season pass was for the episodes, all that stuff. So now to go into more remastered versions of games, games like Gears of War 1 remastered, Crash Bandicoot's Insane Trilogy remaster, Spyro's Reignited Trilogy, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare remaster. That was a proper remaster, not to be confused with Modern Warfare the reboots, which I'll get to. And of course, the recent Modern Warfare 2 remaster. Resident Evil HD remaster, of course, Last of Us HD, Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, Demon Souls is going to be a remaster, Mass Effect Trilogy, hopefully we're going to get a remaster, not a remake of that. So what is a remaster? So here's a big misconception, is that remakes and remasters are the same thing. No, they are definitely not. So a remaster is making something look way better in a brand new engine, a graphics engine that is, and not remaking the entire game from scratch. Taking what's already there, the same storyline, the same missions, the same everything, but just making it so it looks up to standard of nowadays quality. Maybe fixing controls that might have had issues in the past and everything. It is not remaking anything. Is literally just remastering what is already there and bringing it up to modern day standards. Some people are thinking that remakes are the same thing as remaster in that aspect. Now, I will get to remakes and reboots in just a quick second. So for the most part, a prime example of very great remaster was Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, and Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Those studios did a awesome job at remastering those. And also, I guess I would throw the Dark Souls remaster in with this too. So they feel the exact same. They aesthetically, and like the armors and like Crash Bandicoot, they all, the character designs look the same and they feel the same on the controls. unless there is something that like I think Dark Souls, they might have like tweaked it just a little bit so it's a little bit snappier because you have like a higher frame rate, which means that you can make the controls feel a little bit snappier. I'm telling you, Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, they feel just like the old days, and that is because it's a proper remaster. You don't want to change that feeling of Crash Bandicoot. You don't want to change the feeling of Spyro. They actually felt really good back in the day. So that's why I put those those are some of the best remasters I've seen. Also, Resident Evil HD remaster. So another way that they HDify things is not just textures, but changing controls up that were a little bit clunkier. So Resident Evil used to have tank controls. So you have to hold forward, and then you would do, because there was no camera controls or anything. You'd hold forward, and then Resident Evil HD Remastered still had a slight bit of a tank control, but it was a little bit easier to maneuver stuff just because they did tweak the control scheme just a little bit. And it helped. It helped a lot. I think it helped a lot of people get into that and not feel like the controls were really, really utterly clunky. So hopefully we get the same treatment with like a Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster. I'm really hoping that it happens. In the fact that like some of the shooting mechanics in Mass Effect could definitely use a slight bit of an overhaul. Keep the weapon balance, I guess, and just really up the resolution and everything and the lighting and all that stuff, the lighting details and everything of the systems. The way the game looks should be like Frostbite engine looking, very highly high res and high detail, and way better lighting engines, but just the way it's made and everything, keep the atmosphere basically in there and the aesthetic of everything. Also, the film grain can just go away because the game looks so much better when you turn that stuff off. So this video doesn't go on forever. Let's get into remakes and reboots. So examples of some reboots. So again, Call of Duty Modern Warfare remake, which was actually, it was more or less a reboot, but they called it a remake. So that whole thing of like, Captain Price he's got the same kind of mentality. He's the same type of character, but is a different character. The adventures that you're going on, they are somewhat in reference of like the same characters that were in COD 4 back in the day, but it is a different adventure. So when stuff gets totally changed and totally remade and everything, that's when it's a remake. As it's not remastering something, it's remaking the game into a totally new thing. The same way that Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes are proper remakes of the thing. They are changing the storyline, keeping the same characters, keeping the same backgrounds of the characters, but it's a brand new adventure. You're going through a brand new it's in reference to, but it's basically a brand new RPD. There's different ways of running through the maps and everything. There's different puzzles and such. So it is a proper remake on that, but it's also basically a reboot at the same time because they are telling a different story than what the original story was. Even though there is reference to the original story, there is different stuff going on in there. So it's a remake almost in the territory of reboot. Modern Warfare remake, I would say, is way more on this side of reboot than remake. The same way that the latest God of War did. It's a sequel, but it's also kind of rebooting the franchise to go on to Atreus. Atreus. I'm pretty sure his name was Atreus. Boy, you know who I'm talking about. So Kratos' story is kind of coming to that end. So how do you make a proper sequel when Kratos is almost getting too old to fight? You kind of have to reboot into a totally different universe, which is the new mythologies that you're going through. And with that reboot came a whole new combat system on top of that. So very different. It's almost like you're remaking God of War, but keeping a lot of the essentials to keep everybody knowing what's going on. But at the same time, it's like it's a fresh coat of paint on the whole thing, and so it's the old fans got something there, the new fans got something there. It brings everybody together, and everybody loves this package deal. Hopefully, I think for the most part, everybody really got into it and enjoyed God of War. To go back a little bit on remakes, Mortal Kombat 9. I wanted to bring that one into spotlight because Mortal Kombat 9 was really a solid remake in its own right. Also, for the time, for the the controls were clunky, I will say. For me, I think MKX felt a lot smoother to execute combos in and everything, but the retelling of the story, they kept a lot of the same references, a lot of the same storyline was there. They just made it more cinematic. But it was actually still a remake because there was different, I'm pretty sure there was kind of rewritten origins for the characters. I'm not like the biggest Mortal Kombat lore expert, but it felt like after going back and seeing the original Mortal Kombat and how there was like, it was just hard to put story into an arcade game. It was there for competitiveness, and then they kind of like rebooted and remade Mortal Kombat at Mortal Kombat 9 to have like a proper story, and to the universe kind of got reset in a way, kind of the same way that Mortal Kombat 11 is doing right now. So Mortal Kombat 12 is probably going to be once again another kind of reboot of things, which we've actually already seen in Mortal Kombat Aftermath, where the timeline is totally being rebooted again, which is going to be very interesting going forward. But there's a reason for that with the whole WB Games buyout thing and all that. We won't get into that. That'll be another video. Stay tuned for that. Hopefully, maybe we'll see. We'll see if we get into that. So another solid one, and this one had to go on the list. Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is an absolute remake. They are taking the original story, all the reference, all the characters, everything is there, but it's being told in a totally different way and creating a totally different atmosphere around the whole thing. It is one of the most genius, genuine remakes on this list. Is that whole thing of just, it is the same story, but it's at the same time it is being redone. So like Final Fantasy VII Remake is absolutely, it's a sequel and a remake all in one. It, like I said, it is genius writing. It is a wild thrill ride, but how do you distinguish from a remake to a reboot and all this and that stuff? One last one I do want to say that I had on this list, and just so Hitman. The Hitman series going episodic. We're going to have one more season of episodic Hitman. And really, that feels like a full-on reboot. I feel like the characters, the character origins and everything totally got switched up. From what I knew of being, I never, what was it? I played through Absolution, and that was, everybody says that's a terrible game, but it was the most cinematic one, so I kind of got into it. Outside of that, I played a little bit of, a few of the episodes of Hitman, and just seeing like the origin story of them in that, it just felt like a very different storyline. So to me, Hitman episodic is more or less like a reboot, and that's, it's just because there is difference. So if you're catching on to what I'm getting at here, if something is the exact same thing, just made for, to look shinier and cooler in modern day technology, then that is a remaster. If nothing has changed, it's a remaster. Or if there is, the same storylines there and everything, it's a remaster. If they change up a lot of stuff in the storyline, the characters are kind of changed up a bit. If and it's not just like the look of the game overall to make it look nicer for modern day, but if it is like, like I said, like a Captain Price being changed up, or I don't know, what Kratos and Atreus, or the whole storyline behind like how Cloud and Zack in Final Fantasy is a little bit different, then that should be to everyone a remake. So I just wanted to put this video out there. I just wanted to put everything, put this video together and let everybody know that there is a big difference between a remaster and a remake. So a remake and reboot are kind of getting to be the same thing. When I was kind of making this list, I was kind of realizing to myself a remaster and enhanced version. So I have a feeling that, and these are very also marketing terms too. So they are they're made to be slightly confusing, just to make you buy more copies of games. That's what this whole thing is about, of remasters, reboots, and everything. When really they should be being used to tell you what the hell the package deal actually is. But that's where the trailers come in. You have to be able to distinguish whether or not, okay, is this what the original thing was? Is this something totally different? And that's the reason why I like to do a lot of these Let's Talks, to let everybody know of like, okay, well, this is definitely different, or, oh, this is the same, but it looks way better. Back to what I was saying, the previous point of remaster and enhanced versions of games. They seem like they're kind of becoming the same, of like enhanced version is just like a next gen version of a remaster, basically, because you can do so much more with the remaster. As in remastering the audio design, the lighting, the graphics engine, the textures, making them 4K or 8K or whatever, making the frame rate better so it runs from 30 to 60 FPS. And then a remake is almost basically the same thing as a reboot. As in the sense of, when you're remaking something, a lot of times they like to reboot the storyline and give a fresh, brand new take on the storyline, especially if a storyline was all right but could have been done better. Then, like MK9, the storyline was all right in Mortal Kombat. And then I think NRS felt like they could do better. Final Fantasy VII, same way with that. Is like, okay, storyline's pretty damn good. I think we might be able to push it even more, or do something even, wackier with it. So, like we have 4 different terms, but 2 of them, 2 and 2 basically mean the same thing. So it's very, like I said, these marketing terms, they should be in the way of trying to, they try and describe what the products are, but I think we need more trailers describing. Instead of having CGI trailers all the time, we need gameplay trailers. We need a lot more gameplay trailers. And I just don't think the games are... I don't know if people, or if the publishers really want the games being shown. Maybe even the developers also. They don't want the games being shown off as soon as the trailers are ready. Or they need to have the trailers ready. So that's why we have to wait so long for gameplay. Also, a big one too, which I should probably add into this video, is the fact of... do your homework and like figure out what is a CGI versus a gameplay trailer. If you can see like the HUD in the game world and it looks like somebody's actually playing the game, that's a gameplay trailer. If it looks very like a prime example of a gameplay, well, we have CGI trailers and gameplay trailers for every game, so it's kind of hard to say, but usually they say gameplay on them, or you'll see in there also of like footage captured on a PS4 Pro does not always mean it's gameplay. It might be gameplay, but it's gameplay in the works, in development. So like the Resident Evil 8 trailer that we just barely seen, a lot of that is probably in-game footage, like in-game trailer, I should say, footage, but it's not gameplay. Like we're not seeing exactly what you're going to be doing. You're seeing like in-game cutscenes. And that's probably the best way I can put it. So CGI is going to be something that's pre-rendered in a computer. It's a video file. In-game cutscene is something that is like, it's running in the game, but it's not pre-rendered. It's actually, you're still not seeing gameplay at that point though. You're just seeing that it's something that's basically a pre-rendered cutscene just being used in the game, so you don't have a large load time to get into the gameplay. You can just go boom, you're into it. So 2 very different things there too. Which, all this stuff is just to make you go, that looked cool, I want to buy more. At the end of the day, that's what it's all amounts down to. Trying to make you buy more stuff, trying to sell you more stuff. It's not a bad thing. And that's also what I want to say, is trailers are not a bad thing. CGI trailers are not a bad thing either. Whenever something is pre-rendered on PC, it's what the developers have in their brain, what they want to be putting on the screen. Whether or not that translates on into the game and onto the screen, how well they can translate that with hardware and everything, how well the team knows how to translate that. It's not to fool you into buying a product. It's more or less, does the team have the funding and the time enough to make that game what they want it to be? So the CGI trailers are there to show you the dream of what they want the game to be, or the vision of what they want the game to be, and then what you actually get in like a full-on gameplay trailer. When you see the HUD, when you see somebody like running around and doing all kinds of stuff, that's what they translated that vision into. Sometimes it comes out good, sometimes it comes out bad. It really all depends. And I feel like going forward, we're going to see a lot more trailers where it's like, I don't know if I'm looking at a pre-rendered cutscene or if I'm actually seeing gameplay. Like it's going to be a lot harder going forward because the graphics are getting so good. They're getting like full realistic. So, yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. It's been going on for a minute here. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to try and be keeping up with making more videos in the near future here. I have a small list of video ideas I do want to get out there, and also be checking out the stream replays, which I definitely have been trying to get up on the channel as fast as possible too. And yeah, that's going to do it for this video. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, I'll see ya next time.